Honourable Madam Speaker, Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Leader of NFP, and Members of Parliament. Madam Speaker, today I will enlighten the House on the policies, practices and programs that the Education Ministry has implemented to improve the health and well-being of children in our schools in Fiji. Madam Speaker, Minister of Education, Heritage and Arts has been given the responsibility of ensuring that the well-being and safety of our children in our school system, 15,577 in the ECE programs, 143,414 in primary schools, and 66,512 in secondary schools, which we have since 2015, and we have tried our best to ensure that students under our care are given the safest and healthiest choices in schools. Madam Speaker, one of the vital components to progress and growth of any nation is the health and welfare of its citizens. When you have healthy people, the productivity and output of the nation prospers. Under the Education 2030 Declaration, the Sustainable Development Goal 4 of the 17 goals, which proposes to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, unquote, in the framework for action commits to promote adequate health and nutrition of all children. It denotes that first few years of life, the most significant in terms of brain and physical development, must be built on very basis of healthy living. Madam Speaker, the school environment plays an important role in reducing health hazards through practicing right norms and educating on the basics of what is right and wrong. This in effect develops a culture of prevention and preparedness, which is later filtered down to the family and community at large. What the child learns and practices in school is instilled permanently in the child as good habits and traits. Madam Speaker, when we ventured into improving the education sector in Fiji, we took a holistic view of the system and ensured that while we break through stagnant processes, biased practices and long overdue goals, we also guarantee that our children are conformed the highest levels of safety and well-being. We have injected greater emphasis on good health and physical well-being of the child. Madam Speaker, we are looking at each and every policy with in-depth evaluation and ensuring that once implemented, they target long-term positive inputs. Madam Speaker, the grave concern triggering from bad food and lifestyle choices has been literally affecting every aspect of our society. The incidence of non-communicable diseases have never been higher, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, our Honourable Minister for Health and Medical Services, quoted in the Fiji Times 28 January, noted that latest diabetes victim was a 12-year-old girl. Madam Speaker, our children are falling victim to lifestyle diseases, and this rate is more serious, severe, and constantly increasing now. Madam Speaker, this House will be astonished with the high rate of diabetes, obesity, malnutrition, and non-communicable diseases amongst our school children. A study conducted in Fiji recently by WATE was a sample of 6,871 children aged between 13 and 18 from 18 secondary schools on the main island of Vitilevu showed that 24% of the adolescents were overweight and obese. 24%, one quarter nearly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in our schools, we have found out that many of our children are addicted to junk food. They rely on soft drinks and extra salty, sugary and oily food for their lunch and refreshments. In some cases, students resort to junk food during the breaks in the school. We've also found out that there are many children who give away or put aside their food parcels from home and instead consume junk food and soft drinks purchased from school canteen. We have found out from parents that sometimes the children insist on not taking their lunch from home, but force for more pocket money which they can use to buy snacks. In addition, we have seen that the instance of children being obese and sickly in school is increasing, with many contracting serious sickness early. In the immediate term, Madam Speaker, this affects attendance and performance of our students. Madam Speaker, in some cases, school canteens over the years, while supplying to the food and refreshment demands for students, have shifted away from its fundamental role to becoming an extremely profit-oriented businesses. We have found out that in some cases, foods sold in canteens are foods which are unhealthy, which in the unhealthy food chart are listed right on top. These are also food hawkers selling unhealthy food near the school gate compound, Madam Speaker, and attracting children to them. Madam Speaker, the Minister of Education, Heritage and Arts has spearheaded a campaign to ensure that all schools are health-promoting schools. In 2016, with the partnership of Honourable Minister for Health and Medical Services in the Ministry of Health and Medical Services, we implemented the school health policy in schools. And this year, we implemented the policy on food in school canteen, Madam Speaker. These policies are aimed at institutionalizing well-being, health, and wellness of our children in schools. Madam Speaker, on 23rd of September last year, we signed the MOU with the Ministry of Health and Medical Services and launched the Fiji School Health Policy. This partnership strengthens both ministries to engage in coordinated approach for consistent promotion of school health and wellness program. Madam Speaker, through this policy, we are trying to nurture partnership with all relevant stakeholders, inclusive of parents and guardians, student owners of private schools, students, owners of private schools, school heads and teachers, school canteen operators and other authorities and organizations to see that our efforts in promoting healthy living in school is not undermined. Madam Speaker, implemented in Term 1 this year, the food, school and canteen policy mandates all school canteens to sell only healthy food and beverage items and promote healthy food environment in the school. This policy intends to support the principles taught in various year levels, which aims to promote healthy eating practices, healthy living, well-being, and safety of all students in school. And Speaker, our school is an ideal place to promote healthy eating, consumption of affordable local produce, and nurturing of positive health amongst the students, because children are very receptive at this age to any new information, Madam Speaker. They are learning sponges. The school canteen is an integral part of the learning environment and therefore needs to operate in a manner that supports the health messages of the curriculum. Beyond the school environment, a school canteen influences and reflects a child's food and beverage choices and those of the broader community as well. Good nutrition is fundamental to children's development, concentration and learning, health and prevention of lifestyle diseases and future productivity. Madam Speaker, it is envisaged that with this policy, it will be possible for school canteen operators to adhere to the mandatory procedures which is being aligned to meet the legal responsibility under the 2030 Constitution to ensure that every child has a right to basic nutrition. An efficient and effective canteen at the school promotes opportunity to reinforce healthy eating practices and provides a convenient venue for food items and beverages to be purchased by children and staff during recess and lunch. The policy also creates awareness on the responsibilities of the school head as well as the canteen operator on the minimum standards required under law to ensure the child's right to basic nutrition is not compromised in the name of business and to get stakeholders to have mutual understanding on the main role of a school canteen. Madam Speaker, the policy adds value to the teaching of healthy living and health curriculum by ensuring that the school head, teachers and school managements practice what they preach and make strong attempts to foster and instill healthy habits in students. Madam Speaker, the policy on food and school canteen also seeks to re-identify the roles that canteen committee, the school head and canteen operator have to play to ensure that the instructions given in the policy are not compromised. For example, some of the duties that canteen operators have to see to are safe food handling practices, health and hygiene requirements of food handlers, and advisory or warning statements next to or in the connection with food containing allergens. Madam Speaker, we have supplied a list of items which are prohibited to be sold in the canteens. Some food beverages under this category include deep-fried foods like bhajia bara, gulgula, chocolate-coated and ice creams, ice blocks, sun pops, sweets, lolly chocolate jelly beans, uncooked noodles, sugar-sweetened drinks that include fruit-flavored drinks, sport drinks, and all fizzy drinks, Madam Speaker. Some health-promoting foods such as listed in this policy include boiled or baked root crops, cereals such as wholemeal bread, stir-fried and boiled vegetables or fresh salads, fruits in season, milk, water, sugar-free drinks. Madam Speaker, this policy is in full effect in all schools now, and we are now rigidly following up our monitoring and evaluation phase, jointly with the Ministry of Health and Medical Services. Madam Speaker, Our government has ensured that every Year 1 student receives 250 millilitres of grey milk and wheat bix a day. Around 20,441 Year 1 students have benefited from this initiative in 2016. This initiative has been very successful so far, with requests from various stakeholders to increase this initiative to other levels as well, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in the Batawa districts, we have 1,438 students benefiting from this. In the Lakondrove district, we've got 1,390 students benefiting from this scheme. In the Eastern Division, we've got 1,207 students benefiting from this. Lotokayasawa, 3,815. Madhuatambua, 1,965. Nandaga Nagosa, 1,461. Nasuri, 3,235. Ra, 820. Suba, 5,110. So, Madam Speaker, in total last year, we had 20,441 students benefiting from this scheme, those who are enrolled in Year 1 studies. Madam Speaker, the main purpose of our policy is to provide clear and transparent guidelines for the distribution and usage of milk being supplied to primary schools for the benefit of our children. The policy will guide the reader in understanding the importance of milk to a student, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, our ministry has also implemented a WASH initiative in schools at this juncture. Take this opportunity to thank our partners, WHO, UNICEF and DFED, for the generous assistance in ensuring that the WASH initiative implemented in schools is a success. The WASH program refers to water, sanitation and hygiene in schools. I also wish to acknowledge the efforts of the Project Heaven in adapting our schools for the WASH initiative. This initiative is reinforced under the Convention on the Rights of a Child, whereby, and I quote, all children have the right to clean water and basic sanitation. And the 2013 Constitution, which makes it a legal right of every person to have access to clean and adequate water. Madam Speaker, all our Fijian schools have available access to facilities such as toilets, hand washing stations, and sanitary disposal bins. However, some of our students either don't see the importance or still lack the necessary knowledge, practice and behavior to properly utilize the existing WASH infrastructure in schools. By the WASH initiative, we emphasize the importance of cleanliness and hygiene practices for our children's health and well-being, as well as students learn how to use these facilities and keep themselves clean and learn hygienic practices. Madam Speaker, hygiene and sanitation challenges have caused many children in developing countries like Fiji to fall ill from infection with intestinal parasites, abdominal pain and diarrhea. This situation also leads to anemia, stunted growth and a high incidence of absenteeism, which consequently impede a child's learning and ability to stay in school. Madam Speaker, it also diverts parents' time and resources away from productive work towards caring and looking after the child. The WASH program in schools supports the global efforts where all children go to schools that provide a safe, healthy and comfortable environment where children grow, learn and thrive, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is another initiative of our Bainimarama-led Fiji first government to equate future Fiji by educating our child on the importance of sanitation and hygiene. Madam Speaker, to support this initiative in the poor schools, we have adopted other supporting initiatives of resource backing. We have begun to prepare for the adverse effects that our schools will face from climate change. And at this juncture, I take the opportunity to thank our Honourable Prime Minister for bringing this crucial issue of climate change and approaching hazards to the forefront. Madam Speaker, we are putting in more and more water tanks in schools. This is to ensure that schools have access to proper and clean water storage system. So far, in 2015 and 2016, our ministry has provided schools with 254 water tanks, 145 in 2015 and 109 in 2016. From this, we have distributed 203 water tanks having 5,200 litre capacity and 51 water tanks holding 10,000 litre capacity to schools. Madam Speaker, let me now enlighten the House on what steps Ministry of Education, Heritage and Arts have taken to promote good mental health of our students. Madam Speaker, as you are well aware, our children are our greatest asset, and when we lose a child, the loss is not only felt by the immediate family members, but the entire nation. When a patient takes his or her life, questions arise as to what has forced the person to take such a destructive step. The serious concern that young people were taking their own lives and that past situations were boasting the increase in severity of suicide cases called for efficient suicide elimination tactics to be put in place. As such, we initiated the National Anti-Suicide Discourse and Awareness, which took place on 18 September 2015, and Suicide Prevention Day in schools is commemorated on the 9th and 10th September in all schools. All schools were encouraged to come up with proactive measures in addressing issues and problems relating to the field. School activities included promotion of understanding of the problems leading to suicide, highlighting the prevention of suicide through poetry, songs, art, and drawing. Guest speakers and members of the religious organizations were called to speak to children on the options and support mechanisms that exist for children in our community. As part of our awareness campaign against suicide, the Ministry of Education, Heritage and Arts developed brochures on suicide prevention, which was sent out to all schools and also to community at large. Madam Speaker, I'm happy to inform this House that we were able to reduce suicide amongst our children in schools to negligible numbers last year, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, at this juncture, I call upon our parents to continue to provide unconditional love and support to their children, as there is no substitute to parental love, Madam Speaker. This is the only way our children can be assured that we are there for them at all times, and we want them to do well. Madam Speaker, the key components of advocating against issues affecting children is to promote rights of children and human rights in school. Madam Speaker, we have administered new and revised child protection and behavioural management policy, which I will elaborate more in another sitting of Parliament, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, with the collaboration and support from Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, we ensured that the Child Helpline number 1325, Madam Speaker, the Child Helpline number 1325 is known and accessible to all school students and also teachers who are in need, Madam Speaker. This was launched by Honourable Minister Akbar when she was in that ministry, Madam Speaker. So once again, Madam Speaker, the Child Helpline number 1325 is known and accessible to all school students and teachers who are in need. We have made counselling services available to all students in schools. We are providing free basic counselling training to teachers so that the teachers know what to do in cases where students need help. We have 4 divisional counsellors and 3 fully trained counsellors in Nazak who are providing counselling sessions to students, teachers and parents, and we are looking at extending the number of counsellors throughout Fiji, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, due to the increased number of students affected by Cyclone Winston, we also allowed free access to our partner agencies to ensure counselling services to the students and teachers. We are also having discussions with Fiji Human Rights Commission to develop supporting resource material to back our teachers, covering this topic of human rights in our school system. Madam Speaker, albeit all difficulties, we have a highly robust curriculum which is geared towards delivering one of the best products for future Fiji. Madam Speaker, one area that has been neglected and downplayed for years is the physical education. Unfortunately, physical education had been narrowly seen as physical sports only in our school system, which excluded a lot of students from participating in it. We are now taking a number of measures to deal with this issue. Over the past 2 years, the number of specialized physical education teachers in secondary schools as well as primary schools has increased, and this area is given equal importance. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Education, Heritage and Arts, in his continued pursuit to deliver excellence in schools, implemented yoga program in all schools around the country, though not compulsory. This step has been primarily taken in consideration of the benefits of yoga to physical and mental health and for personal peace and harmony. The holistic benefit of yoga embodies unity of the mind, body, and the thoughts and actions of individual. The International Day for Yoga was launched last year. It was celebrated in all schools, and this year we're looking at a bigger celebration, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have launched the first ever fitness manual for primary and secondary schools in partnership with FNU as part of the physical education program, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this fitness manual was prepared by Mr. Alfred Buka, a very well-known sports personality and academic. The Ministry of Education, Heritage and Arts is looking forward to taking the lead role in formulating the first ever national policy for quality physical education in partnership with UNESCO, Madam Speaker. Physical education curriculum is now, for the first time ever, been consulted with major sporting bodies, rugby union, universities and other stakeholders. Sporting bodies are now working in consultation with the Minister of Education on the inclusion of the subject into the curriculum and filling in practical gaps that exist. Madam Speaker, our children are under enormous pressure from challenges and issues that they are subjected to now, which didn't exist during our time when we were in school. We need to mobilize school stakeholders to support our children. The ministry is just one stakeholder. I wish to assure all parents that our ministry is doing all it can to deal with contemporary challenges faced by our children. At the same time, urge all of you to partner with us in this quest. Madam Speaker, we are building a healthy, vibrant community of learners who are prepared for future national and global demands. The health is a core component of this, and this is where we are investing. We look forward to support from all stakeholders in this journey of securing and educating our children for future Fiji. Thank you.
Thank you. I now call on the Leader of the Opposition or her designate to speak in response.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Honourable Minister for Education for his ministerial statement. And we agree with the idea of instituting programs and policies to improve the health and the well-being of our children in schools. And we firmly believe that this is very essential. Good health, Madam Speaker, and well-being is central to effective learning and preparation for successful independent living for all young people. The Honourable Minister, Madam Speaker, has just mentioned about the school canteen policy, which is, it was formulated in 2005, and later was reviewed through a partnership with the Ministry of Health in 2016 and 2018 and 2016. There's nothing new in this new initiative that has been raised in this House by the Honourable Minister. What the Minister is introducing this program, but schools, Madam Speaker, are promoting fizzy drinks, which contradicts what is being planned, like the Coca-Cola games, the teams as well. And this is, and the Twisties games, these are the food that is not to be, it can cause LCDs. And yet the Minister is coming up with a lot of programs in terms of these well-being and these programs, policies to improve the health and well-being of our students. This is a contrast, what is happening on the ground in reality and what is saying in this House. And it would be better, Madam Speaker, if this program, if fizzy drinks is being replaced by island chill waters, which is much better. During one of our constituency visits last year, Madam Speaker, we visited schools in the Eastern Division and we met with some of our school teachers. And teachers we met informed us that programs such as the free milk program and free wheat mix has had detrimental effects on our students. Some class 1 students, when it comes to having this, they ran away to the loo because they have been seen to be vomiting. Some of them have been seen to be vomiting because of the effect of this milk. And a teacher even advised that for the past few months, some of the students they ran away because of the fact that the milk and the wheat mix are being distributed in the morning. And this is very sad, Madam Speaker. We also need to consider, Madam Speaker, the cost implications in executing these policies. And we would like to recommend to government this could be built into the school curriculum instead of being a standalone item, especially on the promotion of health in schools. Excuse me, as it will cultivate the knowledge and skills they need to be positive and to be, especially on the mental aspect, emotional and social and physical well-being in school. The free milk program, Madam Speaker, must be reviewed to determine its impacts on the students, as I was mentioned earlier. And perhaps substitute this instead of, what I mentioned, with fruits as well, for free, and of course this will assist our local farmers economically. Secondly, Madam Speaker, students are being immunized or going to be immunized for, especially for female students, for prevention of cancer, HPV vaccination. And after immunization, some of these students face, they're sick. And the question that I would like to pose to the Honourable Minister is, who is liable in terms of what will happen? And why is it also, Madam Speaker, that the students of Jasper Williams are not being allowed to train as the Minister is to camp in the morning? Because the Honourable Minister said that that's not so. So that is also promoting healthy and especially in terms of what he has just mentioned in this House. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I now call on the leader of the NFP or his designate to speak in response.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to thank the Honourable Minister for his statement. I think he's quite rightly covered a number of issues, and I really have no objection to the overall objective that he's outlined in terms of ensuring that our children have good habits inculcated from within the school. Obviously, he's talked about sanitation and cleanliness. I think that's a very, very important issue. And in fact, Madam Speaker, might I add, that really that should be the priority, number one priority of the Minister, because I've seen many schools and I've had many complaints from students, from parents, and especially for our female students, that proper sanitation and the facilities for cleanliness is available. So I'm glad that the Minister pointed that out, and I hope that would become a single most important priority in terms of making sure that kids, our children actually get the best of it. Very specifically, Madam Speaker, on the food policy, I think the Minister is right that school is a very captive environment. That is where teachers can inculcate in the students various habits, such as health habits, food habits, cleanliness, sanitation habits. These are very, very important. I mean, I remember when we were in class 1, we had to make sure that our fingernails was clean. We had to carry handkerchiefs, and basic cleanliness was always something that the schools actually did. So it's really something that we need to upgrade. But just coming back, Madam Speaker, on the food policy, majority of the meals that the kids have is actually not in the school. I mean, on average, they would have 5 meals in the school, lunch. But kids also need snacks and other things. I was just reading the list of approved food items and the list of prohibited food items, and I wasn't sure. I mean, in fact, the Parliament should look at the list of approved food items and beverages. Maybe we should practice it here. Otherwise, we may not be able to eat fish and chips when we go for breakfast or, tea break or lunch. So, just on the prohibited food items, to me, Madam Speaker, it's really not some of those food items per se that causes obesity, that causes kids to indulge. Of course, a small percentage may be indulging in some of those items. So I think general education to school canteen operators through a policy to encourage them to have more healthy foods, I think is welcome. It's not something that is really an issue. But school canteens are also run by private operators. I think most of them have contracts, they pay license. But the bigger issue, Madam Speaker, that I want to raise, and perhaps government needs to understand this and perhaps work this out, is that a lot of the unhealthy habits are a result of other things. For example, kids at home, parents at home, their affordability, are they able to buy fruits? What are the basic food items, things that we may not consider basic needs, are actually basic needs. You know, for example, those who want to eat butter and margarine and jam, these are available in the supermarket. So we really need to look at those legislations, food safety legislation, standards legislation, and also look at all those specific food items, Madam Speaker, that we need to bring the prices down so that not only at the school, I mean, they may learn good habits at the school, but when they get home, the parents can't afford it. So I think that is a broader question. That is, if you don't align those things with this policy in the school, you're not going to get the results. I mean, this is why I always say, Madam Speaker, that policies are good, but policies must always be reviewed and improved. And we need to look at the effectiveness, and that's what I want to urge the Minister, is to look at this policy again, because once the kids get out of the school, they may find beyond the 10-meter another canteen and buy the junk food. So it may not necessarily work, Madam Speaker. Thank you.